business, or community well maintained and safe. It's about being able to get your life back on track after the event. Will you be ready? Visit nima.kn or log on to Nima SKN on Facebook.
Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere. Everybody beware.
Trish, let's go. The bus is about to leave.
You go. Tell mommy I had detention.
I'm not lying to mommy. Where are you going?
I have a date.
A date? Shh. Don't shush me. Where are you going? I hope it's not to see that old man again.
He's not that old. He just came back from away and he's bringing me a gift.
You know if mommy find out what she's doing.
She won't, cause you're not gonna tell her. I'm gonna bring some money for you too. He always gives me cash to top up my phone and stuff.
No, I don't want it, and I'm not letting you go. Get on the bus or I'm telling the principal.
Secretly receiving gifts or items from older people may be the beginning of sexual grooming, which often leads to sexual exploitation. Don't allow your friends to encourage you to keep quiet about them secretly meeting with an adult. Break the silence. Talk to a teacher, guidance counselor, your parents, or a trusted adult who can help. This message is brought to you by UNICEF, UKAID, Crime Stoppers, and this station.
Trish, let's go. The bus is about to leave.
You go. Tell mommy I had detention.
I'm not.
Welcome back to Island Tea. We want to thank Social Security for joining us today. We that was a lot of informative, that was a very informative piece, and we're glad that, they took the time out to come and give us updates. But we are moving on to
Campaign Brew right now, and on the line we have a special guest with us this morning in the name of Ambassador Jonathan Powell, the constituency representative for number 2, Central Bastille. Mr. Powell, Ambassador.
Morning, guys. What's happening?
No, you tell us it's a big day. It's a very big day for all the candidates. It's nomination day. I'm assuming you're already up and about on the road.
Yeah, I'm off and about. Actually trying to use some time to respond to some WhatsApps and phone calls and all that with constituents. But today is a big day. It's the day when we officially register as candidates for the poll next week. And, feeling good, feeling excited.
Brilliant. You just mentioned you're getting a chance to respond to some WhatsApps. How many messages do you receive on a daily basis, off the top of your head?
Hundreds. My estimation, I'm getting around, outside of group chat messages, I'm getting about 350 messages a day.
That is insane. It must be quite flustering for you guys, and I'm sure all the other candidates are experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, it can get frustrating, I guess, for both me and the persons who are trying to get in touch with me, because it's just so much. It's difficult. It's almost impossible to sort of get back to everybody the same day. But I'm trying my best. But I look at it this way, guys. Obviously, these people want to hear from me. Obviously, they want to talk to me, and I see that as a good thing. I see it as a positive thing, and so, I try my best to get back to everybody.
Okay, brilliant. Well, we don't have much time, so let's jump straight into it. Last election was your first time running, correct?
That's right.
Okay, and from what I understand, you lost the election by a very small margin. I think it was like 90-something votes, somewhere thereabouts.
98 votes.
Exactly. So tell our listeners what you've been doing over the last 5 years to actually close that gap.
I have been creating a track record upon which I can present to the people of Central Bastille this time around. Because you're not elected doesn't mean you can't get things done. And I've been able to, with the support of the team unity administration and my colleagues in cabinet, get quite a bit done. I was the only candidate in the last election, and as I understand it, the first candidate to ever produce an individual manifesto where I made certain promises in terms of things I would do should I get elected. I wasn't elected, but I did promise that Central Bastia would see a new ferry terminal be built. That has been done with the help of Ian Thatcher's But I promised that there'd be a redevelopment of the West Line bus terminal, which is in the same facility. That is about to be completed. So basically that has been done. I had promised that if I was elected, I would look to improve the situation at the Gardens Housing Project. I was elected, but that has been done. And the work is ongoing in terms of renovations of the interior of all the apartments. As we speak, they've spent over $500,000 on a state-of-the-art sewage treatment plant down there, which has addressed a sewage issue, not just for the Gardens Housing Project, but it is preventing a lot of sewage that used to run down into the Irish Town Bay. That happens no more. Simple, low-hanging fruit, things that could not be done even by an elected representative in government. Things like lights going up to Pine Gardens.
Right.
Simple things like that couldn't be done. I've been able to help people with Central Bastia as the second highest number of persons who would have benefited from the government's roofing program. Second largest number of persons receiving $500 on the poverty alleviation program. So I've been able to influence a lot of change in the constituency over the last 5 years.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
Amongst other things.
Yeah, I hear you. Last election, you actually challenged your opponent, the Honorable Marcella Leiber, to a debate, which never happened for whatever reason. And I saw something on social media yesterday where you challenged her again to a second debate. Well, it's the first debate. The first one didn't happen. Have you gotten a response to that yet?
No, I haven't gotten a response. And just for the record, when I had challenged her 5 years ago, she boasted that she tore up the letter which she had, and I can confirm that she did send it back to me in pieces. This time around, I have not received a response to that challenge.
Well, okay. Sorry. In terms of your constituency, number 2, Central Bastia. I think Central Bastia, from what I understand, was one of the communities that benefited the most from the peace initiative that was implemented, not implemented, but facilitated by the current government. Can you give us one or two stories of success stories of individuals in your constituency who have been participating, in this treaty and who have now, transformed their lives and are doing positive things for the community?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows the reputation that Matt Knight has Matt Knight has developed over the years in terms of, you're talking about Batman, or you're talking about, criminal activity,
right.
And even outside of Matt Knight, Central Bastia has been one of the hot spots, if not the hot spot, in recent times. And so the peace initiative has been able to not just get young guys from participating in gang activity and criminal activities, but it has been an avenue to reform them and rehabilitate them.
Right.
So you do have a number of persons who were benefiting from it, a number of persons who have been given the opportunity to start businesses. I can think of one young man who's been able to start a car rental business,
right.
and that seems to be going fairly successful. He keeps expanding his fleet. I know of another one who is now looking to do the same thing. I think he has 3 cars that have either recently landed or about to land here so that he can get up and running. The other persons who have been able to benefit in terms of starting small farms and that sort of thing. So, it's a lot of people want to label these guys as criminals, but look, they've been victims of the circumstances, and what we need to do is encourage them in terms of finding work for them. Even though everybody hasn't been able to start their own business, a lot of them have been able to get opportunities to work, and that is important. Getting monies in the pockets through legitimate means.
Brilliant. That sounds excellent, and I'm actually very happy for those young men and young women who have been positively
That's right.
affected. Their mothers, their sisters, their girlfriends, wives, who know had that peace of mind that the guns have been put down, and that these guys are actually looking into entrepreneurship, farming, opening businesses. It's actually a tremendous story that should be told around the world. Let's go
Right.
back to the debates for a quick second. Are you of the opinion or not that debates between candidates should be a mandatory thing every election?
I don't know that we necessarily need to say it's a mandatory thing, but I certainly think that it would be a healthy exercise for constituents to be able to really put these candidates that are presenting themselves up against each other, and to be able to make an informed decision at the polls based on the platforms and policies that they present on various issues. So I wouldn't necessarily say it should be mandatory, but it's something that I would encourage. I know there's been a lot of talk, but I believe if there's to be any debate in St. Kitts and Nevis at this point in time, the first debate must be between Marcella Liebert and myself.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business. I don't think anybody else should engage in a debate until Marcella and I have a debate, because that is something that is outstanding from last elections. We're both senior members of our respective parties. That's a good start.
Brilliant. In terms of the elections that we're going to have, I think it's next week, Friday, the 5th of June. I think this is the first election in a very long time where parties won't be able to fly in a large amount of voters to participate and exercise their constitutional right. How do you think the absence of these overseas voters will affect this election?
Well, let me correct you on something. The right to vote is not a constitutional right. It's a right that is conferred on us to statute.
To statute, okay.
My party has made its position clear from the very early clock that we no longer support the influx or flying in of what is labeled as overseas voters.
Okay.
The reality is, last election we had somewhere between 25 and 30% of the persons that went out to vote flying in.
Wow.
I don't believe that persons with those kind of numbers, persons should be allowed to come in for one day. Some of them, and then last election was a perfect example where some of these people had never set foot in St. Kitts and Nevis before the election there.
That's all.
They had never set foot. So they're coming here for the first time, casting a ballot, patches 1 by 4 votes. So the margins are small, every vote counts. They should not be allowed to come in, give me a representative or government that I don't want, and then fly out, and then I'm stuck with this government I represented for 5 years. I don't believe in that. I believe that in the spirit of the Constitution and the electoral laws, the persons voting should be residents, constituents in the various constituencies. And so the absence of them this time around, for the first time in a very long time, we should be getting a poll which reflects the vision of the people on the ground and in the various constituencies here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
I agree. Yesterday, we actually spoke to Dr. Daly from Nevis, who's running against Mark Brantley next week, Friday. And Dr. Daly, was of the firm opinion that it's the citizens' right to be able to fly back home and vote. So I asked him, I said, do you support political parties actually taking campaign funds and chartering jets to fly people to St. Kitts and Nevis to vote? And if not, are you okay with people, spending their own money? Like if I'm in New York City and, I'm a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, if I took it upon myself to actually purchase a ticket and fly back home to cast a ballot. So are you saying that you're against the foreign vote coming, period, full stop? Or are you against specifically political parties actually spending money and flying in jets and jets and jets of people to vote. Because I think the difference between those two is that, left up to their own devices, we wouldn't have so many people flying in to vote in a general election, as opposed to when they get a free ticket. I don't know, like you mentioned, there were some people who came back to vote who actually had never set foot in St. Kitts, and I believe if they were left to their own devices, they wouldn't have come. So how do you feel about those two variations of the international vote?
No, the People's Action Movement's position has been very clear. Whether it is the flights are paid for from campaign funds or you pay for it yourself,
Period.
we do not believe that persons should be allowed to simply flying and vote for the reason that I gave before.
Right.
The only persons that we are prepared to accept are persons who are not deemed as being resident outside. And
like students, etc.
Persons who are studying in university and are simply there for the purposes of study, and persons who work in embassies and missions abroad who are not considered to be resident in those countries.
Right.
Outside of that, we believe that the voting that takes place on election day here in St. Kitts should be done by constituents and residents in the constituency. That is the whole spirit of our electoral system and our constituency system. How do you tell me, how can somebody be deemed to be a constituent and they don't live in the constituency?
Yes, I understand.
I believe that residency requirement is a must. And in order to vote in any given constituency, you ought to be a resident in that constituency. If you don't live in it, and I don't care whether you live in, if we're talking about Central Basti, I don't care if you live in Sandy Point or you live in New York City. You're not a resident in Central Basti and you ought not be voting there.
Exactly. And I actually like to take a moment to actually commend you on your straightforward and understand and firm opinion on the matter. I'm not saying I agree with your opinion because that's not my place on the show, but there are many politicians in St. Kitts and Nevis who dance around the subject and could never give a straight answer and don't want to touch it because it's controversial for fear of losing supporting people who they want support from. So I must say I admire your firm stance on it.
Thank you, but the thing is, when I am not and it's not just mine, it's my party's position, and our position has been given with the understanding that it means people can't come home to vote either.
Exactly.
So it's nothing that is biased against any one particular side.
Right.
We understand that we too can't bring in people, and we are happy, we are satisfied with that. And I know some persons are going to say, well, it's Pam started, or Pam used to do it. Yeah, we used to participate in it in terms of encouraging and facilitating persons to fly home. But that was then. The situation is very different now.
Exactly.
That, in my opinion, was in the past, it has been sort of a situation where these were persons who actually were born there, who grew up there, who had ties, who had significant ties to the constituencies, but had simply gone abroad to have a better life. We're now talking about second and third generation persons who've never lived in the constituencies. We're talking about people who've never even set foot in St. Kitts and Nevis now. We're talking about, imagine 30% of your electorate flying in. That is a significant number. And I believe that the circumstances now, based on the numbers, has completely undermined the electoral system here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and it's something that
it's out of
ought
control.
not continue.
I agree. In terms of your opposition in number 2 for next week Friday, the Honourable Marcella Liebert, she's been representative for 10 years now.
Yes.
Tell our listeners what sets you apart from Marcella and why you believe that you're a better option for Central Bastille.
I actually have a platform. I actually have a plan. I actually have policies which I have been presenting to the people of Central Bastille. I'm talking about opportunities, particularly for young people. I've spoken about my vision in terms of establishing a boardwalk at the Irish Town Bay Road for a number of reasons, from security to aesthetics to commercial opportunities. I've spoken about the upgrades, my plan to upgrade the public market to provide better conditions for vendors and shoppers, as well as to provide a second story for commercial spaces for persons in the area to make money and to start businesses. I have shared which is really my passion, which is my plan to redevelop Central Bastia and repurpose all of these abandoned house lots, overgrown lots, derelict buildings into land opportunities for both residential and commercial opportunities for the people of Central Bastia, amongst so many other different things, so new community centers, football facility for the people of Shadwell and Pine Gardens and New Road. I have actually presented a plan. To this date, my opponent has failed to present any plan to the constituents of Central Bastia. I have a track record. I spoke about some of the things that I've been able to do, as well as benefits that Central Bastia has had from national platforms in terms of the peace initiative, the housing, the roofing program, the $500 program to the PAP. My opponent does not have a track record. When I listen to what she has to her track record, the only thing that she's done was she rushed off the family park at New Road. If you look at the original plan, it is only about 30% complete at best. And it was rushed off before the last election. Apart from that, her legacy will be that she painted over the public bath at the Prickapere Alley. Other than that, Marcella Leiben has no track record in Central Bastia. You listen to her on the platform, and she's telling you about adopting preschools and supporting sporting teams and sports efforts. Well, there's no politician in St. Kitts who has not supported a sporting team, who's not bought football boots for anybody. The government, this community administration, provides $25 a week for every single preschool child, whether you're in public preschool or private preschool.
Okay.
So every politician does these. What has she done for the people of Central Bastia? What tangible benefits have they had? And the answer to that is none. At least I have a track record of showing what I've done for the people of Central Bastia in opposition. She had two opportunities. One, as elected representative in government, with all the resources at her fingertips. She had substantive ministries such as health and social services. She failed to do so. Again, she was the elected parliamentarian for Central Bastia in the last 5 years, albeit outside of government. At no point in time did Marcella Leiben in the last 5 years go into Parliament and argue on any issue on behalf of the people of Central Bastia. At no point in time has Marcella Leiben written to the Prime Minister, who's the Minister of National Security, and made suggestions or recommendations in relation to the crime situation. At no point in time has she ever written to the Minister of Infrastructure about roads in Central Bastia. At no point in time has she written to the Minister of Housing about with housing solutions for the people of Central Bastia. At no point in time has she written to the Minister of Education about issues with Irish Town School or with issues or suggestions, recommendations in terms of the educational system in Central Bastia. She has failed the people. And so I put myself forward, having created a track record over the past 5 years, and by having plans presented to them for another 5 years when I'm elected as the elected representative.
Brilliant. Ambassador Powell, we'd like to thank you for taking time out on Nomination Day, which is one of the most important days, in your political career, for calling in.
Pleasure.
For calling in and talking to us.
For my people.
Wonderful. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure you have lots to do, so we'll let you get back to it.
All right, take care, man.
Have a good day. And all the best in the election, so.
Thank you.
All right. We'll now take a quick break, and then we'll get back with our third, I think it is, guest for today. We'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM. I have a surprise for mosquito, roach and flies. Pop makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Pop tell you why. Pop makes all of them die.
Introducing new Bop Evergreen, one more powerful, fast-killing formula in the Bop family of insecticides with a pleasant evergreen scent. The powerful killing action of Bop Evergreen kills all flying and crawling insects fast.
Pop makes all of them die. Get serious, get back. Bop, 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 make all of them die.
Like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ramsupermarket. Follow us on Twitter, www.twitter.com/ramsupermarket. And subscribe to us on YouTube, www.youtube.com/ramsupermarket.
Pour me out some stones, ginger wine for me. You'll never feel alone. Original taste. Stone ginger wine will never fade away. The wine for me and the next generation.
A legacy lasts forever. The original ginger wine, established in 1740. Stone's ginger wine.
Pour me out some stones, ginger wine for me. The wine for me and the next generation.
Live your legacy responsibly with Stones.
And welcome back. Kevon, you hear me?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, brilliant. We're back in the studio now with two guys from Studied Bar over in Newton on the project. A very famous bar, among our generation, amongst the young people. We have Mali in the studio. And who do you have here with you, Mali?
One of my best friends, Devon and little Papi, a.k.a. Papi Chulo.
A.k.a. Papi Chulo?
Yeah.
Welcome.
And this segment is referred to as eat local, everything local talent, local food, local drinks, local people, doing things locally. And Mali is actually the owner of a bar that I feel in your bar. I think y'all open for about 2 years now.
Yeah, 9 and 3. This would have been 3 to be exact.
Okay, almost 3 years. 3 years in the brewing. Studied bar over there in Newtown. We've had some good memories there. Kevon, you ever went there?
No, not yet.
Kevon, to bougie for over there, Mali.
No. Corona spoil it for me.
The bar open 3 years now. You make Corona spoil it for you.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, that's your excuse for everything.
I wasn't here. During the time I was, carnival. How would I go?
Yes, I understand.
When I done with the feds, I kind of home.
I understand.
Passed out.
So Mali, so you said the bar has been open almost 3 years now. Tell us about your journey and what encouraged you and motivated you to go into business, to be an entrepreneur, and why a bar and why is the bar where it is. Give us some background.
Well, good day to everybody listening and all the viewers online. My name is Malvai Harris, one of the co-owners of Study It, and I would say Study It by the motivation and inspiration come from many of things are passing of a friend to layman, just layman every Friday with a group of my friends, and we just came together and started it. It was like a typical Friday with layman, and everybody wanted a drink, and we used to go across the road to buy a drink, and I just said, you know what? Instead of we going anywhere to support anybody else, well, we just support your own. And after that, I was there, and from there, and then we here now, Study It, bar, brand, everything.
Imagine that, eh? A liming session turned into a business.
Yeah.
Goals.
And do you want to just touch on, you just mentioned that, there was a friend that passed away that inspired you to go into business. You want to talk about him for a second, or her?
Well, everybody knows the far right.
Yeah.
Flocka Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, we celebrated 2 years. Well, I wouldn't say celebrated 2 years since he passed, and it was a rough experience for everybody both. But nevertheless, it was inspirational because he's a warrior and he just pushed us to good things. So here we are, building a van, building a name for ourselves. Study It.
Brilliant. And I know people usually host events and so at the bar. I know over the past year, I think it was before, this coronavirus thing, you had Hellfire Sounds there sometimes doing their thing. A couple of times they actually passed through and bang a few drinks with Sparry and Big to them and so. So what kind of events do you see happening at Study It once, we get to go outside again? Do you have anything planned?
Well, a lot of plans are there. We had to set it back to this corona thing, but we're pushing forward from here and just hoping for the best for the players to get back to normal. And we go outside and start to venture around. I have a few things planned. I have my annual Study Your Belly every December.
Yes.
Which do a luncheon and give back to the kids of the community with free gifts and free entertainment for the kids. So hopefully I'll still be able to push on and keep that December, but look out for Study It.
Mm-hmm.
We have big things coming and just stay with us.
Okay then. The segment of the show is called Eat Local. It's a breakfast show. Yeah. So where do you guys normally get your grub from? Outside of Study Your Belly in December, because I don't want to leave you eat once a year. So, so in terms of local spots where you frequent to get your lunch and your breakfast and even the dinner. St. Kitts has a big eat out culture. For some reason, we don't like to cook anymore. We're cooking a lot now that we're inside, because we ain't got no choice.
Yeah, I see your snaps. I see you chefing it up right now.
Yeah. I'm trying to live.
Maybe a corona chef.
I'm telling you. So why don't you tell us about a few spots where you recommend in terms of local food, that listeners can actually visit to get some grub?
Well, for me, you could come Study It and get some burger, some nice lunch. From time to time, you could go Stellang, that's at the village by my second home, Ingrid. She have some amazing food.
I love that barrio.
Yeah.
It tuck away in the back of somebody's yard, peaceful, breezy.
Always the best food, eh?
The beers, them actually really, really, really cool at Stellang bar.
And you could go weekends, Nevis, or you could travel to the Atlas by Shipment Yard, my place too. All these are my places, so you can go there and get lovely food. So I wouldn't recommend no bad place.
So how you feel, with the corona and everything kind of locked down? How you been managing to keep your business afloat during the unfortunate situation?
Well, for me, keeping it afloat right now, my friends, you understand? Because as a bar, you can't be able to participate in opening to the public right now. So my friends just being there, showing me the love, keeping me upstairs, me, and other people around me, loved ones who reach out to me from time to time and just share their love. So, you know, it's a rough time and we just gotta go through it because, as I tell somebody yesterday, tough times don't last, tough people do, so we here.
And how you plan to, you know, when everything open back up, how you plan to resume? Even if, you know, we have to take some measures to keep everybody safe. You've been thinking of any plans to, on how you're gonna work that study?
Well, as you know, my spot is very small, but it's a big business in a small place, so I never really get to the nitty-gritty of it, but when we sit down together as with my team and my friends, we'll discuss all that there, because health comes first in an instant like this.
Okay, Mali, in terms of local, this is the Eat Local segment. What kind of local music you into right now? Who you listening to? Who in your car bumping on the stereo right now? Who in your bedroom you're playing when you're getting ready for work in the morning?
One Messiah, by one.
Legendary.
Yeah.
A young legend, that is. That's it? Just buy one?
Buy one. You don't know. Right now, the local them popping and the virtual concerts, so we all tuning and listening and appreciating the music. You don't know. And you don't know my sounds, Hellfire sounds, as always. I enjoyed them last night and the live just bumping. That's my people.
Okay then. Sorry, something in my throat here. Kevon, take it. I gotta drink some water.
You gotta drink some tea, man. So what you know, all this. Unfortunately, the topic is always Corona because that's kind of what ruling everything right now. But how you been managing it personally? You know, business aside, you as a person, how you been handling that?
Well, me personally, it just make you think about life a little deeper, you understand? Me at home, I mean, with the loved ones, and just gotta cool out and think about life. And, you know, just gotta be thankful for health and strength, you know me? For me, I've been just trying to build myself some more, do a lot more reading, try to gain as much knowledge as possible home. So that's basically it.
All right then, I'm back. I'm doing okay. You mentioned before that, you know, the studied bar, you know, is a small business, you know, with a massive impact in the community and
not to cut you off, you get it wrong. It's a big business in a small place.
A big business in a small place. I apologize sincerely. Do you have any plans to expand anytime in the near future in terms of because the bar is it is a small bar, although you know it has a great impact on the community, the surrounding community. Do you have any plans to expand the bar, offer new services?
Well, for sure, expanding is a must. Just about time and getting over some hurdles. So must expand, look out, but that's gonna be the main hub, cause it's there everything built from. We gotta keep the history right there.
Right.
So we must expand and just look out for us soon. Just hoping for the best. So and waiting on the perfect opportunity.
Okay, brilliant. Are you politically affiliated or interested in politics to any extent?
Well, I leave the politics for the politician. I'm a businessman. Let me stay in the business area.
Okay, no problem. Don't vex nobody. So how do you feel, you know, personally, about what's going on? We're in the middle of campaign season, silly season. People are very tribal when it comes to politics. I'm sure you experience it. You experience it down, you know, on the project as well.
Yeah.
You know, the arguments and the debates and things and the disagreements. Family and friends just fall out during silly season. How is all this affecting your community and you know, how do you feel about the current landscape in terms of the election and what's going on?
Well, affected me, nobody around me, because we're going to love each other regardless, and I personally think politics isn't a game of love, just a game of power and using the opportunity to get power. So for me, I just remember buys them every day. We can't fall out over that there. If you fall out over that there, I'll bang up everybody. So we just here, man. And that they not picking me, that they not own me, you understand?
Okay then. Are there any other like areas of business that you have interest in? I know you have the bar. I know the bar does, the food thing every now and then. Are there any other, areas of business that you see yourself venturing into in the near, or the far future? Any passions that you might have had that you never got the opportunity to work on or to develop?
Well, I have the clothing line and that is booming. What I want to get into next, man, it comes with time. It ain't good to share your personal.
Your plans, yeah. You can't get into details.
Ideas. So I'm gonna save these here for me and my family and my friends to discuss indoors. But you got a lot of things I want to venture into. But as for me now, I just focusing on studying and building, and you don't know. We got bartending services for anybody who want bartenders.
You see there? I didn't know that.
Maybe you didn't know that.
I didn't know. No, I've seen your bartending, but it's an actual service a study does offer to people.
Yeah, man. It's all handsome fellas around, so people want them there. So we're here to offer our services anyway, but just look out first in the future, man. You hear more things about it.
Okay, brilliant. In terms of your brand, your clothing line, the Study It brand, the bar, and of course your bartending services. How do you go about, marketing these establishments, these organizations, to the masses? Because as far as I understand that this is something that you do full time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is your bread and butter. This is how you support your family. This is how you support your friends around you.
Yeah.
So in terms of marketing your products and your services, how do you usually go about doing that?
Well, you don't know. The main area is social media.
Right.
Everybody always have the phone in their hand, so I take advantage of that there to advertise all my product as much as possible. And as you see now, I'm here in the interview arena, so I'm just here to advertise too and build my brand, and I just want to say thank you for this opportunity too. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
So I have a big question for y'all. This is we're talking about the country now. How y'all feel tourism has been impacted because of the coronavirus? Y'all think tourism gonna go back to what it used to be?
Well, tourism. For me, I just think that it's just a little time to shine a little light, and we just gotta realize tourism alone cannot be our main industry. So I think we'll get back to normal. I just hope they put better things in place for the taxi drivers, because as you see, taxi drivers are hurting, and it's a bad time for who life based off of this kind of tourism thing. So I hope they get it together. That's all I have to say.
Good stuff.
I hope so as well, Bye. Yesterday we actually touched, briefly on entertainment and how entertainment has been affected, adversely by the COVID-19 pandemic. You're involved in entertainment as well. You host events. Obviously, you own a bar. And right now, the bar can't open for business as usual. So, obviously, you're suffering as well. Tremendously. Tremendously as a result of the shutdown and what our generation refers to as outside. So how have you been coping with that personally, on a personal level? Because yesterday we also touched on the mental health effects that it's been having on people. Number one, we're inside, we can't go outside and go to the beach, etc. as we'd like to. And then secondly, to add insult to injury, there are people who, like you and myself, who heavily rely on entertainment to eat, that can't do so. So there's that in terms of adding to, the kind of pressure that you feel, the kind of depression, the anxiety, the uneasiness. So how have you been coping personally, with all this going on? The fact that you can't make $1 and live the life that you're accustomed to living.
Well, that's a very tough question, you know, true. Guys, it's hard, you understand? So, but what I could say, are healthy, you understand? So, that's all. Tough, but you gonna pass, man. Just gotta hope for the best. You gonna pass, feel. It's tough, feel.
Well, it's been going well locally.
Right.
I mean, St. Kitts is doing much better than, you know, several hundreds of other countries.
You see things are already slowly opening up, so we on our way.
That are still battling it. But it's going to be a while before, you know, they allow large crowds to gather. So for some people as opposed to others, you know, it's going to take a little bit longer for it to get better. People like me and you're going to suffer, you know, for the longest.
For the longest.
Goes over the longest.
Yeah, no blue wave.
No blue wave, no blue
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm hoping that by December, you know, the government at least allows us to have a local carnival. You know, if things overseas are still looking kind of grim, you know, keep the airports closed, don't allow the influx of people to come from hotspots to reinfect us. But hopefully, if we behave and keep this thing to a minimum, then in December, you know, I'm hoping that we're allowed to have a local carnival. And then people like Study It and the Power Circle, you know, and Cane Juice and everybody else come make a little $10 so you could buy some bread.
So, a little question to you. You think the government should put something in place for our entertainers who ain't getting the opportunity to deal with these kind of things right now? What do you think about it? And
Well, I think, the thing is, over the last 2 days, you know, at the team unity meetings, the Prime Minister has made mention of putting a specific department in place, the Ministry of Arts and Entertainment in place to support entertainers and people who have a vested interest in the entertainment industry, service providers, lighting technicians, sound engineers, bands, musicians, DJs, dancers, solo artists, right? But obviously this won't be happening, you know, anytime soon. Obviously there are things that have to be put in place, finances, etc., etc. In terms of right now, I don't know of anything that's in place in terms of relief for people who are involved heavily in entertainment on a full-time basis, unless, you know, they have a registered company and are paying social security as a self-employed person, obviously. But it's getting there. You know, apparently there was a bunch of young people that had a conversation with the Prime Minister a couple of days ago, and you know, impressed upon the importance of supporting the local arts and the entertainment. And apparently that's where he got the inspiration to make those comments last night and the night before. So yes, to answer your question, I do believe it's very important. I mean, Jamaica takes entertainment very seriously. Jamaica is one of the entertainment hubs in the world, not just in the Caribbean. And the Honorable Olivia Grange is the Minister of Culture and Entertainment in Jamaica, and she has been doing great work over the last few years, since 2018, I think, is when she was elected, doing great work in terms of entertainment and putting resources and policies in place to support people like you and myself and other promoters and DJs and musicians and bands, for them to be their very best. So I hope that our government is actually seeing the benefits of supporting this. And one thing we discussed yesterday as well is how undervalued entertainment is in St. Kitts and Nevis. People often see entertainment as, the young people are going to a fete and getting drunk and frolicking and causing public disturbance and thing. That is one aspect of it, right? But in terms of the economic impact that entertainment has on the Federation, on any country for that matter, is tremendous, right? I mean, when we have an event, let's say we have in Bluffett next week Saturday, right? Normally at Bluffett we see between 2,000 and 2,500 patrons. All those people don't have cars, so they're catching bus to come down to go to Bluffett. Busmen making extra money on that particular night. The girls have to look fabulous to come to Bluffett, right? So they're going to visit the hair salon, they're going to get their nails done. The fellas want to look fresh so that the girls can see them looking fresh, so they're going to get their haircuts, right? The girls have to go downtown to look for an outfit to come to Bluffett, right? So the kind of stimulation that occurs around these events is immeasurable. And then that has nothing to do with the actual stimulation that occurs because of the event directly. I'm talking about service providers, sound engineers, lighting companies, people who rent tables, chairs, tents, coolers, the stage, right? And let's not even mention the police force who makes money off of these events as well, because we're required to hire police for security. And the police don't ask them what you want, they tell them what you get in. And you got to pay for it, right? And then, of course, not to mention the artists, bands, DJs, and dancers, and backup singers that make money off of it to support their families, right? And that is just one small event that caters to around 2,000 people. We have events in St. Kitts that cater to 6,000 and 7,000 and 8,000 people, right? And then we have music festival, which falls under entertainment. It's a tourism product, yes, but at the end of the day, it's entertainment, right? And the music festival brings in an influx of thousands of people to come and see, local, regional, and international acts. Carnival is entertainment. The troops, ultra, fun vibes, all the rest of them, the Juve troops, the Queen shows, all of that is entertainment. And all those events generate a significant amount of income for for hundreds, even thousands of people on the island. So this is a segment of the economy that cannot be ignored any longer, right? And currently there is nothing being done by anybody outside of private companies that maybe sponsor these events to support them and encourage them and to provide resources to them, right? So that they can succeed. So I'm very happy that the government is actually seeing value. And you know why that was? Because traditionally, these campaigns are held outside on the platform, on the street. They will block off McKnight and block off Central Street, go Kevon, on a pasture, chop stage, bring in foreign artists and thing. And then they have these big concerts and rallies and thing. But for the first time in history of this country in particular, they have to go virtual. And who knows how to go virtual best? The people who are always involved in entertainment. So now you have the young people, the promoters and the producers and the musicians and the engineers coming together. The same people who put on these big feds. Yeah. That people love shun and abuse and the music to loud, lock it off. Are the same people who have come together now to make these campaigns a possibility. And now the government and the opposition is seeing this for the first time. Sorry for talking for so long, but I'm quite passionate about it. But that's just my take on that. So I hope that the government takes strides to actually put things in place to support us. I'm going to say us because I'm a part of it as well. And of course, you, Amali, and the whole study family. Yeah. So we want to thank you for coming to the studio and sharing your experiences with us and sharing your thoughts with us and telling us about your business. When outside opens back up, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you visit Study It Bar, the one on the project in Newtown, to get your ice cold beers that have jackets on them. And Mali, I'll turn it over to you for any final words and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for listening. My name is Malabai Harris, one of the co-owners and founders of Study It. And we just want to tell you all be safe. Don't get caught up in the lot of child. And study it. Papi Chulo.
Study it.
All right, guys. And that was Island Tea. Thank you all very much for listening. We'll be back again tomorrow morning, bright and early. I might need some coffee to wake me up because I'm tired. But thank you for listening. It was Kevon and Amali giving you Island Tea. Thanks, guys.